Hi, I'm Mike,
And I'm Dave.
and we're here to talk about the Myers-Briggs personality types, our favorite topic. We cannot stop talking about it.
We cannot. I mean, look at all the videos we've made.
I know.
And there's more to come. We have so many topics.
That's right.
15 minutes is not enough.
It's barely enough time because we're talking about this 24/7. We should just film every conversation we have.
We should. I have to learn how to edit video. So if you know how to edit video, any good programs, recommend it in the comments.
That's right.
Yes. So
for this video, we're going to talk about the SPs and our experience of the SP artisans as NFs. So, and I think I want to give a little disclaimer right now about some of these videos that we've made. I'm thinking about it in the moment, because we're NFs, we're improv. We know how to, well, ENFPs know how to improv. And that is that we're not, there's no claims that what we say is actually how the other types are. We're talking about NTs or SJs or whatever. These are this is an experience of you from two NFs.
Yes.
So other NFs may agree that you guys are like this or not like this, but it's not necessarily meant to be an objective opinion. There's absolutely no objectivity going on in any of these videos
just
at all.
Our intuitive feelings.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yes. So
I tried to cover that in the description, but it's a new channel, so
sure. So this is an NF. So we're going to talk about an NF experience of the SP artisan, and I've had a few experiences with SPs. I actually had an uncle. Who was an SP who I was very close to. So I've had a lot of SP experience over my life to talk about. So. We'll start this as we usually start it. So, Dave, what are some of your impressions, maybe some of your more positive impressions of SPs that you've encountered, or the SP artisan type in general that you like or that you think about?
They're very fun and spontaneous. Which spontaneous for a J could be bad or good. For the most part, it's really, really good. It's a change, which I enjoy. I actually dated an SP. Oh, yeah, shocker. But for like a couple of months, we ended it mutually because she wanted to always go out and have really wild fun, and I always wanted to not. So, but that's fine. But they're really fun. They're very easygoing. They're very good at having a good time. There's not one SP I've met that does not know how to have a good time. I mean, if you are throwing a party or want to throw a party, you invite at least one SP and have him run the show, him or her, and they'll know what to do. Just ask them for advice. In that area at least, and and it's really fun. I mean, for the most part, I mean, some of the not so nice things would be the always living in the moment. I mean, the unplanned things, which once again could be the good thing, but it could get a little tiring for an INFJ. Sometimes, maybe that's just my eye speaking. But how about you, Mike? What would be your experiences with SPs?
Very similar, of course. Fun. To say something in addition to that, I think what I like about SPs, one of the things I like about SPs, is that SPs have a natural generosity that is lacking in all the types, and even us, even in the NFs, we are not always generous. NFs can be very generous, and NFs can be very not so generous. If we're mad at you, you've hurt our feelings because you made fun of our poems. Okay,
we're touchy.
That's right. So we may take it all back.
Without you knowing sometimes.
Well, if you're an INFJ, that's what you do. If I'm an ENFP, I want you to know I am taking this back because you hurt my feelings, jackass. But SPs aren't like that. SPs are very, very generous, and absolutely every SP I've ever had encountered is very much what's mine is yours, and they give of themselves very freely, and you don't have to ask them a million times. You don't have to get on your knees and grovel for anything. They give them themselves without question, and what's really great too is that SPs don't hold it over your head that they've been generous to you.
They don't keep a tab.
That's right. They're not keeping a tab like the SJs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, SJs are running. They're keeping a tab. There's a scorecard. They're marking it. They're, SJs, boy. There's they have a ledger board. But yeah, exactly. But but SPs aren't like that. An SP will give and give and give and give, and they'll never hold it against you, even when they're mad at you, even when they think you've screwed them over. And I've seen this. Even when you think you've screwed them over, they're never going to say, "What about the time I did this and I gave you that and I went this and I did that?" They won't. They won't. They don't. They're not keeping score, and they don't pull up that scorecard. Whatever they're giving of themselves, they're fully giving. And what's also good is because they're, and I think maybe this is because they're sensors, they're S people, is that they give very concrete things, meaning physical things. They're free to give. We're giving NFs give non-physical things, which like love and care, empathy. And our ear and all that. But an SP will give money, food. You need a ride. They give very physical things without question and without wanting anything in return or ever asking anything for return. And that's the thing that actually makes me love the SPs the most. And the thing that I've learned from SPs the most is how to be generous. I actually attribute my own generosity from being exposed to SPs. Yeah. And trying to emulate that SP generosity. Which is hard because sometimes I don't. I just take it. You hurt me. And I'm taking it back. Or I want to, but SPs don't ever do that. And that generosity really means a lot to me as an NF, experiencing it and understanding it. The thing that bothers me the most, I think, about SPs is not really thinking through the consequences of what they're doing and how what they're doing is affecting other people. SPs are very individualistic oriented, in their, and very sort of, and because they're living in the now, as you said, they don't necessarily realize that there are consequences into the future that are going to hurt others or could possibly hurt others. And I think that's tough as an NF because we're all very touchy. And SPs can easily hurt an NF and not realize that they're hurting them. Yeah. I think that's true, or not be conscious of that they're going to hurt, or that this action in the future is going to hurt an NF. I think that's not true about the other types. I think the rationalists and the guardians, the NTs and the SJs, they know it's going to hurt the NF, but they don't care because either they've rationalized it through. The NTs have decided, no, we've logically thought this through and this must happen. And the SJs say, hey, we're taking one for the team. We'll take a bullet, you're going to take a bullet too. Yeah. That's a classic SJ. But they're sort of semi-conscious that people could get hurt, whereas the SP isn't even thinking that far ahead. They're not really thinking, gee, my actions may actually impact and hurt another person. Right. And and I think as an NF, that's been the hardest thing to deal with SPs. Mm-hmm. Like literally, like personally, like the SPs that I think about, like that's been very difficult. Yeah. To think about. Now, what do you have any specific SP types that you've had interactions with out of the 4 types for SP that are of interest?
Of interest? Good question. There was an ESTP I experienced. I work in a photo lab, and she was taking a class where she would develop photos, and she traveled across the United States
on a whim.
On a whim,
yeah.
On a whim.
SPs.
She said she was like 22 when she decided to leave home, and that was it. She just went boom. And she would tell me she was like picking corn in Arkansas. At least I think it was Arkansas. Whatever. And then, and she's from Vegas, I should mention. So that's like
the SP Mecca.
Where
all
the
SPs
paradise.
go to die. Yeah, yes, really.
Yes.
SPs love.
Yes. Yeah. And she's great. She's like friends with Mike Tyson. Like, who can
or at least
say
that's
that?
what she says.
No, she had photos.
Oh, okay.
She had photos with her and Mike, and they know each other very well. I'll say that much. And yeah, she she lived the life of like 5 people. She's seen all of America, and I think like she was planning to go to Europe next to tackle that. So that was that was really interesting to like I said before, the spontaneousness could be good and bad, but this is a really good instance of that. It's just like just packing up and going, like I mean, I'd be worrying about a lot of things, before I even thought about packing up and leaving. But they just do it, and that pays off for them in the end. In a lot of cases, sometimes it doesn't, but for the most part, yeah, it's really an admirable trait, I find. So that's a notable one.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Well, before that, the interesting thing is that this is an ESTP, and that's your opposite. That's your shadow.
That's my shadow, which we'll cover in another video. What shadows mean.
But that's very fascinating.
Yes.
That that dynamic.
Mm.
I've had contact with all 4 of the SP types. The one I've had the least amount of contact with is actually the ESTP.
Mm.
But the type I've had the most contact with has been ESFP. The most. And ESFPs are a ton of fun. Okay, they might be the most fun of all 16 types. Okay, they're the most fun to be around. They are the most freewheeling in a happy sense, not necessarily in a dangerous sense. The STP is a little more dangerous. They're all dangerous. They're SPs. You never know what's going to happen. But the ESFP is more in a fun, freewheeling sense. They're very, very funny.
Yeah.
And they do funny things, the ESFPs. And one thing that's true about the ESFP and the ISFP is that they're very sensitive they are sensitive to your pain in the moment. They don't have empathy. Okay, they don't understand why you're feeling what you're feeling. And they can't control their behavior so that they won't hurt you again, because they're all in the moment. But one thing about the SFPs I found is that they are sensitive to your pain in the present. So if you're sad around an SFP, ESFP, or an ISFP, they're going to be sad too. And they're going to be sad for you, and they're going to want to cheer you up, make you happy. They're going to respond to your sadness in that direct moment. That I particularly like about them in that sense. All right. What are some other attributes of the SPs that you either admire or have had some bewilderment trying to understand, or what are some other direct experiences you might have had?
Bewilderment trying to understand. Well, that I think it was an ESFP that I went out with for a little bit. The bewilderment would be going out one night and then wanting to do it the next night, like boom, like right away. Okay, you ready? Let's go. And for me, as an
I mean, going out and partying, out?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, ESFPs love to party.
As an INFJ, that's pretty bewildering. I mean, I have to really just recharge my batteries after going to a party. Like, I hardly ever go to parties for that reason, so it's hard to want to do that every night. Maybe I'll do it like 2 days in a row, but no more than that. I have to have like at least some time by myself, or at least like in a small group. Never mind like a whole house full of people, So that would be the bewildering part for me. So yeah. Also, the idea. This thought just entered my head when you said that ESFPs feel for you in the moment. They don't really empathize, but they I guess sympathize with you in the moment.
They're sensitive.
Right. You think that's where the word buzzkill came from?
Why do you say that?
Well, it's just like if someone's like in a bad mood or something like that, when you're having a good time and drinking, and they feel for you in that moment, then that's like, oh, buzzkill, man.
SPs are the creator of buzzkill.
I don't know. Tell me what you think.
That's Taoism, that everything contains its own opposite. Jeez.
Pretty much. But
all right.
tell us what you think, SPs. You know, comments, video responses. We're welcome to other opinions. But until then, take it easy and see you later.
Okay.